There's a moment in every man's life when he realizes that the world operates on principles nobody told him about. Machiavelli understood this. While other thinkers were building castles in the sky about virtue and honor, he was watching reality. He was studying what actually moves people, what actually sticks with them. And he made a discovery that most men spend their entire lives learning too late. Women don't forget the men who shaped them, not because of flowers, not because of words, not because of grand romantic gestures that fade like morning fog. Women remember the men who do something far more dangerous. They remember the men who change the game. Think about the last time someone truly affected you, not impressed you, affected you, moved something inside you. It wasn't the person who tried the hardest. It wasn't the person who performed the loudest. It was the person who did something that made you see yourself differently, that made you question what you thought you knew. That made you feel something you weren't expecting to feel. This is where most men completely miss the plot. They think remembrance comes from intensity, from grand gestures, from making a woman feel like she's the center of the universe for 90 days before the whole thing collapses. But that's not what stays. That's not what echoes through years. What stays is subtlety wrapped in strength. What echoes is consistency dressed as inevitability. What women remember is the man who kept his word when keeping it cost him something. The man who didn't need her validation to know his own value. The man who could walk away and everyone knew he actually would. Machiavelli watched something most moralists refuse to see. Power isn't loud, it's quiet. Real influence isn't about convincing someone you're right. It's about becoming the kind of person they can't afford to forget. It's about being the one variable they can't control, and here's what makes this different from manipulation. Here's what separates the man with real power from the boy playing games. The man of actual substance doesn't need women to chase him. He's already in motion. He's already building something, he's already becoming. Women are drawn to this not because of psychology tricks or tactics. They're drawn because they can feel the difference between someone moving with purpose and someone performing movement. The first man a woman forgets immediately. The second one haunts her. Machiavelli understood that most people live reactively. They respond to what's in front of them. They chase what's running. But the man who matters, he acts, he initiates. He decides the terms before others understand the game is being played. And when a woman encounters this man, something shifts. She's suddenly not the architect of the interaction. She's not the one setting the pace or the terms or the outcome. For once, she's experiencing what it's like to be with someone who knows exactly what he wants and isn't waiting for permission. This terrifies most people. It also fascinates them beyond measure. Consider the man who doesn't apologize for taking up space, not rudely, not callously, but with the quiet certainty of someone who knows his own worth. He doesn't diminish himself to make others comfortable. He doesn't shrink to be digestible. When he speaks, people listen not because he's loud, but because he rarely wastes words. When he commits to something, you believe him not because of promises, but because his track record is his reputation. Women don't forget this man because, in a world of performance, he's unapologetically real. Then there's the man who keeps his secrets. Not because he's cold or distant, but because he understands that mystery is magnetic. He doesn't overshare to create false intimacy. He doesn't weaponize vulnerability to manipulate emotional investment. He allows people to wonder about him. He allows space for imagination. And in that space, people project their deepest desires. They fill the void with possibilities. They become invested in figuring him out. This is different from emotional unavailability. This is discipline. This is the man who knows that some things are more powerful left unsaid. The man who sets boundaries isn't the villain of the story, he's the hero. He's the one willing to lose someone rather than lose himself. When a woman tests these boundaries and finds them firm, something happens inside her. She respects him, maybe even loves him more, because finally she's with someone who isn't available for negotiation on his core values. Someone who won't be bent or broken or fundamentally altered by her needs. This is what creates lasting attachment. Not neediness, not dependency, not someone who will rearrange his entire life to fit her preferences. Machiavelli saw that women, people in general, are paradoxical creatures. They say they want vulnerability, but they're drawn to strength. They say they want to be pursued, but they're fascinated by indifference. They say they want honesty, but they're seduced by mystery. And the man who understands this contradiction, he doesn't judge it. He doesn't try to change it. He simply operates within it. He's strong enough to be soft. He's secure enough to be vulnerable without falling apart. He's confident enough to be interested without being desperate. This man gets remembered. Most men operate from a place of scarcity. They're afraid if they don't perform perfectly, if they don't say the right thing, if they don't prove their worth. Constantly, they'll be left behind. So they overthink. They overcompensate. They construct elaborate versions of themselves, hoping someone will mistake the construction for authenticity. And it works, briefly, until it doesn't. Until the mask cracks, and reality emerges, and everything built on illusion crumbles. But the man of actual power operates from abundance. Not financial abundance necessarily, though that helps. Abundance of spirit, abundance of purpose, abundance of direction. He knows that his life matters regardless of whether anyone's watching. So he doesn't need validation from women. He doesn't need approval from others. He's building something regardless. And when a woman enters this man's life, she becomes part of something already in motion. She's not the destination. She's someone who gets to choose whether she wants to ride towards something meaningful. Women don't forget the men who make them feel small in the best way. Not diminished. Small. Like they finally found something bigger than their own needs and narratives, like they're standing next to something substantial, like they could finally stop performing and controlling and orchestrating and just exist. There's a version of this that requires cruelty. That's not what we're talking about. Cruelty is for the weak. It's the tool of someone who can't command respect, so they demand it through pain. Real power doesn't need that. Real power moves with grace and intention and gives people no reason to fight against it. It simply exists, and people respond. The man who does these things, who understands that women respond not to what you say, but to what you are, who knows that memory is built on integrity more than intensity, who realizes that true influence comes from actually having somewhere to go and inviting others along, this man doesn't need philosophy. He doesn't need tactics or tips or scripts. He just needs to be real. Unapologetically, completely, dangerously real. And the women who encounter him, they don't forget. Not because he made them cry or made them feel special or made them feel chosen above all others. They remember because he changed their understanding of what a man could be. He showed them that strength and gentleness aren't opposites, that confidence doesn't require arrogance, that a man can be completely unavailable for games while being completely present for connection. This is what Machiavelli really meant. Not that women are prizes to be conquered or puzzles to be solved, but that women, like all people, are attracted to authenticity wrapped in power, to purpose mixed with presence, to the man who isn't trying to be something. He already is something, and he's simply existing in that truth while the world adjusts around him. That's the man they never forget.